When I started this activity, the first thing I did was invite the child over to the table I was at. And he seemed very excited to be doing something one-on-one with me. So I asked the toddler if he would like to do a puzzle with me, and he said yes. So I had him dump out the puzzle that was in front of him, which was the shape puzzle. We would flip all the pieces over so that he could see all of them and what they looked like, and we would scatter them so there wasn't any on top of each other. The toddler seemed to look at the pieces. He was picking them up, and he had noticed that one was a circle, and I asked if he could match the circle with the board. So he did that, and then he seemed to struggle with any of the other shapes. So I ended up asking him, I said, do you recognize this one? And I would point to the triangle. And we would just trace it with our fingers, and then I would see if he could notice that the board, if they had a matching piece as well. And he did notice that. And then we would do this with each piece. So the square, the rectangle, and I would ask if, we would count the sides together. And he seemed to really enjoy this, and we did it back and forth until the whole 12-piece puzzle was completed. The child seemed to enjoy this activity because he would clap his hands each time that the piece would fit in the right spot, and I would congratulate him and say that he did a good job. That was a good way of thinking of making sure that one connected with that one. And so he even asked at the end if we could do another one together. The educator skill I used was C2F, provide direction for using learning materials or teaching how to do things when they are specific methods or approaches that increase chances for or are needed for success. I was provide direction by, tracing my finger on one and helping him do the same thing, and, grab one piece and see if we can match it with the one on the board. Some benefits that the child had when doing this activity was learning how to problem solve. Not knowing what shape went where could be frustrating for kids, so we had to, take a breath and be like, okay, which one does this one match up with? And, we had to use that skill, and that's such an important skill, and even at that young of age. Also, hand-eye coordination, turning the knobs and providing, showing if they would fit one way, like the square wouldn't fit in the circle one, so that wasn't right. So we would move on to see if it would fit in another one, and each time that he would do that, I would tell him if he noticed how many sides or some benefits that the child had when doing this. Oh, I already said that one. One of the most challenging parts was at the beginning of the activity because he did seem to get frustrated. He didn't like that he didn't know it right away, which is typical for a child of that age. So he kept saying he couldn't do it. And, eventually I said, yes, you can. We just have to do that. And that's where my educator skill would come in handy, provide it some other teaching him how to do it. And then he's ended up succeeding, and getting all the pieces right when they were. One thing that went well is how he took what I suggested. I think when he, would listen to exactly what I said, he would do that. And he took the advice, I guess you could say. The one thing I think I could improve was instead of instead of just having him dump the puzzle on the table, I've been just basically had him go for it. Maybe explain a little bit more directions that could have helped him understand it better. I think if I would have been like, do you know any of your shapes? So he could have listed them off, and then we could have said, pointed out more and kind of maybe talked about it a little bit more instead of just letting him go at it. If I did this activity again, I would find more directions, maybe different ways to connect, to communicate what needs to be done. He got confused, but once he did understand it, it did go better. And also maybe separating them further from other children in the room. We had a lot of children want to join in as well, which is obviously okay. But this activity I wanted to do with him just one-on-one. But overall, I think it was a very good activity, and I did learn a lot more of ways to do certain things like that with toddlers. Thank you.